I request all distinguished guests to rise for the national anthem. Manoj.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to the next book discussion in the series IHC Conversations with Authors, that is presented by the Habitat Library and Resource Center, India Habitat Center, on the book Sthitapragya, The Process of Maintaining an Equilibrium by Dr. Mayoor Shah. The book is inspired by the life of Sri Ashish Chauhan, MD and CEO of the National Stock Exchange. On behalf of India Habitat Center, we extend a very warm welcome to Sri Arjun Ram Mengwal, Honorable Union Minister of State, Independent Charge for Law and Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India. Namaskar, sir. We welcome Honorable Justice Sri Vinod Kumar Diwakar, Judge, Allahabad High Court. Welcome, sir. We welcome Director, India Habitat Center, Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh, the chair for the today's session. We warmly welcome Sri Ashish Chauhan, MD and CEO of the National Stock Exchange. Thank you, sir. We welcome our panelists, Sri M. Damodaran, former Chairman SEBI, Sri S. Ravi, former Chairman BSE. Welcome, sir. And author for the evening, Dr. Mayoor Shah. May I now request Ms. Shweta Rajpal Kohli, President and CEO, Startup Policy Forum, who is the moderator for today evening, to take forward the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and a very warm welcome to all the dignitaries. This is a very, very special occasion, and I'm excited to be the Sutradhar or the moderator for taking this forward. A very quick introduction. Startup Policy Forum is a newly formed industry body, and we have the pleasure of working very closely with the National Stock Exchange as now an industry body that represents India's new economy with over 65 startups as our members. Today, we are here for a very, very special occasion for the launch of Stithpragya, and I think this book goes well beyond what each of us are here to really discuss. It is about so much more than just achieving your true potential, and I think the life of someone who I personally am a huge fan of, Mr. Ashish Chauhan, is something that we're going to talk about a lot as we go through the evening. But no one better than Dr. Mayoor Shah, who is the author of this wonderful book that I think should become a Bible of sorts for everybody, because we really want to see how leaders can today maintain equilibrium in times of chaos, in times of confusion, in times of stress, crisis. I think these are some of the qualities that we really need to imbibe and learn, and it's something that has been articulated beautifully in this book. So may I please request Dr. Mayoor Shah to come and address the gathering and talk a little more about this movement of sorts.
Thank you, Shweta. Good evening and welcome to this. I welcome all the honorable guests to this momentous occasion. Ashish Chauhan ji is an enigma for people who have known him. He is one of the pioneering thought leaders and doers of modern Indian finance and society. He has been at the right place at the right time in most of the important episodes during the phase of liberalized India post 1991. However, his humble demeanor, easy conversational style, incisive comments, detailed understanding, complete control over situations, and ability to rise above personal desires suggests that he belongs to a different era. He is deeply involved and yet remains unruffled despite handling many important responsibilities, balanced with a hectic social life. He is connected to the core, but way above in his thinking and approach. I made a film on him for his 50th birthday through Shri Rahul Vyas, a friend, dear friend. That's when his calm personality and a positive aura instantly appealed and inspired me to write a book on his journey so far, especially for the youth of this country, to know that if you dream big and work hard, you can achieve it. When I broached the topic, Ashish Bhai was embarrassed. He kept on insisting that his life story is not interesting enough and people will not find the book useful at all. After a lot of convincing, he agreed to share his journey with me, and then he began his narration. In a span of over a year, almost all our talks were highlighted with a sprinkle of deep philosophy, and that has added so much value to my writing, as both of us are avid Bhagavad Gita followers. I hope I have done justice to his persona in the short, easy-to-read book, Stithpragya, a Sanskrit word being equanimous under all circumstances. The closest English term that comes to my mind is the word stoic. Readers will find this book useful and connected to many important aspects of modern Indian like finance, stock markets, derivatives, mutual funds, information technology, mobile and satellite telecom, retail, oil and gas industry, education, corporate governance, sports, policy making, social and technological progress, philosophy, and many other areas in which he has played a major role. I am sure he will continue to chug along in his own measured, peaceful, wise and unattached way as he has done all these years and keep making India proud. Thank you, Ashish Bhai, for this magical and uplifting experience, an opportunity so rare and humbling. I am truly privileged to have written a first-person account, and in doing so, I relived a life of great challenges and astute foresight with a constant smile, because there was not a moment in your life spent on pursuing any worldly desire or in counting your shortcomings as drawbacks throughout your journey. And I owe a lot to you, Rahul Bhai, for all your hard work, support and guidance. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Gaurav Bhangia and my son Yash for helping me all throughout the process of writing the memoir. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Mayoor Shah, and I'm really happy to share that a copy of the book was presented to the Honorable Vice President of India, and during a meet and greet by Shri Ashish Chauhan ji, I'd request if a glimpse of that can be played out, and also, of course, a glimpse of Mr. Chauhan's life journey and career journey.
There is a boy, Ashish Chauhan, raised on the right values of education, simplicity, and curiosity. He embraced learning with ease, only to later become an architect of modern India. Simple living India's grandest dream, building the Nifty Index, Ashish Bhai transformed how India trades, communicates, and grows. He didn't just adapt to technology, but made it a strategic tool for the development of society. In every aspect of it, technology has been his muse. He played a crucial role in slashing mobile tariffs, automated modern retail, launched one of India's earliest B2B e-commerce platforms. From deep-sea drilling to refinery modernization, to digitizing gas pipelines, his vision powered industries across the board. He gave India its first depository, built the derivatives market from scratch, and became the father of derivatives. And when the IPL needed leadership, Ashish Bhai became the first CEO of Mumbai Indians, managing 2 seasons with exemplary meticulousness. He set up the India International Exchange Limited, or India INEX, India's first international exchange. A committee member of the team who conceptualized and set up the implementation of automated income tax processing at the Income Tax Centralized Processing Center in Bengaluru. He helped shape the technological backbone of India Post's Postal Bank, defining the very infrastructure needed to reach the last mile. For the past 3 years, he has served on the board of directors of ONDC, a platform that is democratizing e-commerce in India, empowering small businesses, and reshaping the retail landscape. Ashish Chauhan's story is not just about achievements, it's about discipline, daring, and doing the right thing. It's about believing that India's youth can dream big and achieve even bigger. Calm at core, fire in his mission. His is a journey of innovation and selfless service aptly encapsulated in his memoir, Stithpragya, the process of maintaining equilibrium.
It's time now to invite our honorable dignitaries on the stage. May I please request Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal to please come on stage. If I could also have Honorable Justice Vinod Kumar, Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh, Director of the Habitat Center, of course, Mr. Ashish Kumar Chauhan, and our author, Shri Mayoor Shah. If I could please invite all of you on the stage. And time now for a very, very special moment, which is the launch of the Hindi edition of Stithpragya. And for the book unveiling, may I also request Shri Damodaran and Shri Ravi to please come on the stage. It's time now for us to hear from our chief guest, none other than Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji. May I, sir, request you to please come and address the gathering, sir.
आपको एकदम स्थित प्रज्ञ नहीं होना है, थोड़ा रिएक्शन एक्शन देना है। आप तो ऐसे एकदम स्थित प्रज्ञ हो गए। आज के इस प्रोग्राम के लिए मुझे आमंत्रित किया आशीष चौहान जी ने, इसलिए उनका धन्यवाद करते हुए शुरू करता हूँ। ये पुस्तक विमोचन का कार्यक्रम था। लेखक हमारे मयूर शाह जी हैं, जिनके बारे में अभी आपने सुना भी और उन्होंने आपके बारे में कुछ बोला भी। हमारे प्रकाशक आदर्श प्रकाशन हैं, उनके भी यहाँ बैठे होंगे तो उनको भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ। प्रकाशन को भी धन्यवाद देना पड़ता है, देना चाहिए भी। और हैबिटेट लाइब्रेरी एंड रिसर्च सेंटर, उनके तो के जी सुरेश जी बैठे ही हैं, आपको धन्यवाद। अब मैं शुरू करता हूँ। हमारे आज के प्रोग्राम में उपस्थित विनोद कुमार दिवाकर जी, ऑनरेबल जस्टिस आप हैं और अभी जज हैं इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट इलाहाबाद में। और हमारे जिन पे लिखा, आज मैंने पूछा आपने लिखा क्या, तो आशीष चौहान जी ने कहा मैं सब्जेक्ट हूँ, ऑथर कोई और है। तो आज के सब्जेक्ट हमारे आशीष चौहान जी। और हमारे इस प्रोग्राम में श्री दामोदरन जी, फॉर्मर चेयरमैन सेबी के, और हमारे श्री रवि जी बीएससी के चेयरपर्सन रहे, ऐसे सभी विद्वान जन यहाँ उपस्थित है। मैं ज़्यादा समय नहीं लूँगा। आशीष चौहान जी से हमारा संपर्क आए काफ़ी समय हो गया। जब मैं फाइनेंस में था, MOS फाइनेंस, तब संपर्क आया। मैं फाइनेंस भी देखता था, कॉर्पोरेट अफेयर्स भी देखता था। अरुण जेटली जी हमारे मंत्री हुआ करते थे, तब संपर्क में आया। तो एक चीज़ मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, इन्होंने अपनी इसमें डाली नहीं है प्रेजेंटेशन में। ये जो मुद्रा स्कीम बनी, जहाँ तक मुझे ध्यान है, इसमें इनके कुछ साथी और आशीष चौहान जी का ही योगदान है। जो मुद्रा स्कीम स्टेशन MSME के लिए मुद्रा स्कीम, और काफ़ी सफल हुई मुद्रा स्कीम। ऐसे कई सुझाव देते रहते थे। डिक्की के लोग भी इनके साथ कई बार आते थे। फिर स्टैंड अप इंडिया, स्टार्टअप इंडिया, ऐसे कई सुझाव इनके आते रहे। और बाद में मेरा एक चित्र अभी आपने प्रेजेंटेशन में देखा कि हम गिफ्ट सिटी, शायद अगर वो चित्र ठीक होगा तो गिफ्ट सिटी गांधीनगर का इंटरनेशनल एक्सचेंज की शायद शुरुआत हुई थी, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने की थी। तो मोदी जी ने भी इनके बारे में काफ़ी जानकारियाँ हासिल की। तो मैंने इनसे जानकारियाँ ली और फिर मोदी जी को बताई। तो ऐसे हमारे आज के, हम तो उनको लेखक ही माने, लेकिन उनका मैं लेखक नहीं, मैं सब्जेक्ट हूँ। तो लेकिन ऐसे सब्जेक्ट पे हम चर्चा कर रहे हैं, लिखने वालों ने लिखा है। नई पीढ़ी आपके बारे में सीखेगी कि किस तरह से गुजरात में एक छोटी सी जगह पे आप पैदा हुए और इतना बड़ा आपने मुकाम हासिल किया। इस पुस्तक से वो प्रेरणा भी लेंगे। इस पुस्तक का जो शीर्षक दिया वो आपने बहुत अच्छा दिया है, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। और वो गीता के श्लोक से लिया शायद आपने। गीता का, श्रीमद् भागवत गीता का अध्याय 2 और श्लोक 38 है। लेकिन ये खिड़की कहाँ से ली है, ये मेरी समझ में नहीं आई। मयूर जी, ये कहाँ से ली है?
ये बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज।
वहाँ तो वो दूसरा सीन लेता है। मेरे से घंटी भी बजाई, इन्होंने बजाई था, डंडा भी बजाया था। हाँ, लेकिन खिड़की का मतलब क्या है, मेरा भी समझ में नहीं आया।
जो मेरी स्टोरी है,
हाँ,
उसमें उनका बचपन उनको बुला रहा है। उनका बचपन उनको बुला रहा है, वहां से स्टोरी से। तो
या वो वहाँ जो एक लेखक और हैं जो लिखते हैं बचपन लौटा दो, उससे लिया आपने?
नहीं जी,
अच्छे लेखक हैं वो, बचपन लौटा दो, कहाँ कागज की किस्ती, वो तो जगजीत सिंह जी गाते हैं। हाँ।
तो स्टोरी की बिगनिंग में वो BSc के बिल्डिंग पे खड़े हैं और उनका ही छोटा रूप उनको बुला रहा है कि चलो मेरे साथ, और स्टोरी शुरू होती है।
अब जब भगवत गीता में जब भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को कहते हैं, वो संस्कृत का श्लोक है लेकिन भावार्थ उसका ये है, हे पार्थ अर्जुन, जब मनुष्य अपने मन में उत्पन्न होने वाले सब भोग वासनाओं को त्याग देता है, जो स्थित प्रज्ञ का अर्थ है वो ये है, हे पार्थ अर्जुन, जब मनुष्य अपने मन में उत्पन्न होने वाले सब भोग वासनाओं को त्याग देता है और आत्मा में ही आत्मा के द्वारा संतुष्ट रहता है, तभी वह स्थित प्रज्ञ कहलाता है। ये परिभाषा दी है। जो मनुष्य शुभ या अशुभ मिलने पर न प्रसन्न होता है ना द्वेष रखता है, उसकी जो प्रज्ञा है वो स्थिर रहती है। अब यहां स्थित प्रज्ञा आया, प्रज्ञा भी आई है। तो मेरे हिसाब से जो बॉडी मिली है हमको, उस बॉडी में 5 हमारे पास ज्ञानेंद्रियां हैं और 5 कर्मेंद्रियां हैं। अब आंख ये देखती है, तो किसी ने हमें बताया, गुरु ने या माँ ने या बाप ने, कि ये नीम का पेड़ है। तो हमारी आंखों ने देखा और हमने ज्ञान हासिल कर लिया। जब दोबारा कभी हमने कहा तो ये नीम का पेड़ है, किसी और ने पूछा तो ये कौन सा पेड़ है, नीम का पेड़ है। तो इसलिए ऋषियों ने इनको ज्ञानेंद्रियां किया है, इसके ज्ञान प्राप्त होता है इससे। इस घर में हलवा बन रहा है, ये इस नाक से पता चलता है। ये संगीत बहुत अच्छा है, ये कानों से पता चलता है। तो इसलिए ये इससे ज्ञान प्राप्त होने वाली जो इंद्रियां हैं हमारे यहाँ 5 हमारे शरीर में, उसको हमने ज्ञानेंद्रियां कहा। और जो 5 हमारे पास इंद्रियां हैं जिनसे हम कर्म करते हैं, जैसे हमें बाल्टी उठानी है तो हम हाथ से उठाएंगे, उसे आंख से नहीं उठाया जा सकता। आंख से हम देख सकते हैं बाल्टी पानी है ये तो देख सकते हैं, भरी हुई है बाल्टी ये ज्ञान तो है, लेकिन अगर उठानी है तो हाथ से उठाएंगे। हमें कहीं चल करके जाना है तो पैर से ही चल के जाना पड़ सकता है, तो वो कर्मेंद्रियां हमारी। तो ज्ञानेंद्रियां, कर्मेंद्रियां, और उसके बाद एक है मन, वो इसी शरीर का ही भाग है। और मन भी दो तरह का होता है, एक है फिजिकल माइंड जो हमारे इंद्रियों के साथ ज्यादा लगाव रखता है, और एक होता है सबकॉन्शियस माइंड जो कोई भी कर्म हम करते हैं वो हमारे सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में स्टोर होते हैं। तो मन भी दो तरह के। और यहां विषय आया प्रज्ञा का। तो प्रज्ञा का जो काम है, प्रज्ञा का जो काम अपने शरीर के अंदर जो चीज करती है वो बुद्धि कहलाती है। उसको हम कहते हैं कि प्रज्ञा वहां से उत्पन्न होती है या ज्ञान वहां से उत्पन्न होता है, निर्णय हम वहां से लेते हैं, सही है गलत है ये काम बुद्धि करती है। और हमें संतुष्टि मिलती है जो यहां भगवान कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को संबोधित करके कहा, वो आत्म संतुष्टि का भाव होता है। तो हमारे शरीर में 4 पार्ट है, बॉडी, माइंड, इंटेलेक्ट और सोल। ये जब चारों एक पेज पे होते हैं तभी आदमी स्थित प्रज्ञ होता है, जहां मैं समझता हूं। और आशीष चौहान साहब हमारे चारों में एक पेज पे है, ऐसा मैंने कई बार इनको देखा। इनको कहीं बीएससी में एक मुझे किस्सा याद आ रहा है, इनकी कोई कंप्लेंट भी कर दी तो भी ये चिंतित नहीं हुए, तो भी चिंतित नहीं हुए। और किसी ने झूठी इनके नाम से किसी की कंप्लेंट कर दी तो भी ये चिंतित नहीं हुए। तो स्थित प्रज्ञ तो है ये, ऐसा लगता है। और जब कभी भी हमने पूछा कि ये इसके बारे में कंप्लेंट आई है तो राय भी सही दी। इसका मतलब ये बॉडी, माइंड, इंटेलेक्ट और सोल चारों स्तरों पे एक साथ जीते हैं, वही आदमी स्थित प्रज्ञ होता है। सब्रवाल जी आप सही कह रहे हो ना? हाँ भर रहे हो या सही कह रहे हो? हाँ तो ताली तो बजा दो फिर, सब सही कह रहे हो तो। आगे और कहते हैं भगवान कृष्ण कि स्थित प्रज्ञ वह है जिसने कामनाओं का त्याग कर दिया हो, जो सुख दुख में समान हो, जो इंद्रियों को वश में रखे, नियंत्रण कंट्रोल में, राग द्वेष से मुक्त हो, जो विचलित नहीं हो, जो निर्मोही हो, निरअहंकारी हो, आत्मनिष्ठ हो, सुख दुख से परे हो, सुख दुख हानि लाभ जय पराजय इन सबको समान भाव से देखते हुए युद्ध के लिए तैयार हो जाओ, ऐसे भगवान कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को कहा। तो मुझे लगा कि मुझे आज इन्होंने क्यों बुलाया विमोचन करने के लिए, तो मेरा नाम भी अर्जुन है, इसलिए विमोचन करने के लिए बुलाया। इसलिए मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा। मैं केजी सुरेश साहब से कहूंगा कि मैं लेखक जरूर हूं, मैं लेखक हूं, लेकिन मैंने जो पुस्तक लिखी है वहां सब्जेक्ट मैं नहीं हूं, मेरी पत्नी है। और उस पुस्तक का नाम है एक सफर हम सफर के साथ। वो भी आपको हम भिजवा देंगे, लेकिन वो सब्जेक्ट अलग है, बाद में बात करेंगे। बहुत बहुत आभार, धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
मंत्री जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा आपकी बात सुनकर। नाउ मे आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑनरेबल जस्टिस विनोद कुमार टू प्लीज शेयर अ फ्यू थॉट्स।
नमस्ते। मेरी प्रज्ञा उतनी प्रज्वलित नहीं है तो जितनी है उससे काम चलाना। श्री अर्जुन राम मेघवाल, ऑनरेबल यूनियन मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट, इंडिपेंडेंट चार्ज, लॉ एंड जस्टिस एंड पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। श्री आशीष कुमार चौहान, मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर एंड चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर, नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज ऑफ इंडिया। Other distinguished guest, Professor K.G. Suresh, Director, Indian Habitat Center, Sri M. Damodaran Ravi, former Chairman SEBI, Sri S. Ravi, Sri Mayoor Shah, the author, architect of this memoir of Sri Ashish Chauhan, Stithpragya. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a momentous occasion for be a part of this launch of the 3rd edition of the memoir, Stithpragya, inspired by the extraordinary life of Sri Ashish Chauhan. At the outset, let me say This book contains the very soul of the Indian middle class, the Atma of middle class, the aspiration of middle class, the intellect of middle class, and the gist and zeal to serve the nation of a middle class. A narrative of inspiration, struggle, innovation, and living dictionary for the youth of this nation who hails from a humble background, who desires to contribute to the nation's prosperity. So far as I know, Ashish Bhai is indeed a complete man in himself, a whole personality. He is a technocrat, he is an academician, he is an architect of ideas, a top-notch corporate executive, a planner, a statist, a philosopher, and beyond all that, a successful family man. The distinguished panelists here throw more light on the spectacular personality of Ashish Bhai, but I'll draw few reflections from the book. While I was recently authoring a judgment, I was also inspired by the idea that a codified law and the law based on the core principles of rule of law have distinct implications for society and governance. Let me illustrate. I'll give you an illustration as to how. I got a quote from the book. In 1650, almost more than 375 years back, India commanded nearly 25% of global wealth. That's 25% GDP of the world India contributed. By 1950, when we got into independence, this had reduced to mere 2% despite nearly 52 legislations enacted by colonial ruler. One can only imagine the vast wealth that flowed away from this land to Britain during this period. There was a codified law, there was a governance, courts, Supreme Court, High Court, district courts, everything was there. But why we are draining our wealth? Meaning that there was no synchronization. In rule of law, there was discontent. There was moments for struggle. There is no independence. So that reflection we get, I'll come. Why did I quote this? It was then the government of India conceived a revolutionary corrective idea. Why? Those who are from the stock market would probably better understand and know. The establishment of the first fully automated exchange, the NSE, unlike older system, it was neither owned or managed by broker members. Brokers retained the right to trade, but not manage the exchange affairs. This novel concept transformed the very fortune of India's financial industry. There was a distance. The earlier exchanges were managed by the brokers. Friends, I don't understand finance industry. I understand what can be best for the society, for the country, for the family. But so far as I understand, a self-regulated mechanism can't be a transparent mechanism, cannot fulfill the rule of law, the basic tenets of rule of law. So therefore, a separate body was created to regulate it, not by the brokers, members who were earlier managing the affairs of the stock exchange. Today, the NSE stands tall, handling more than 700 crores orders a day. Huge volume, huge. The world's largest derivatives exchange. This achievement bears testimony not only a sound institutional design, but also the visionary leadership of Ashish Bhai. He is one of the founding members of the National Stock Exchange. Similarly, I'll come to the issues we generally deal with and the we society interact with. Similarly, justice is the cornerstone of every civilized society. Its realization depends not only on the substantive outcome of the judicial decisions, but also on the mechanism that facilitates their delivery. It rests upon two interrelated concepts. The first is the disposition of the justice. what we see through the judgments of the court, their effects on the society. This is disposition of the justice, outcome of the entire procedure. And the second is administration of justice. The institution, the procedure, the system through which those decisions are delivered. So we need to segregate it. We can't mix it. The reason is the requirement of both the concepts are different and distinct. Why? Then I have to take rescue of the Honorable Law Minister, Pragya, wisdom. Because we can't, we are human beings. We have mental afflictions, we have mental weaknesses. We draw wisdom through our constant practice of anicca. We can't do it. The excessive greed, the maximum greed to retain power, corrupt our mentality, our thought process. And when it corrupts, the byproduct is also corrupt. When the byproduct is correct, it's against the rule of law. So therefore, in India, judicial system is self-regulatory system as earlier exchanges were used to be. They were self-regulatory systems. We have in judiciary self-regulatory system on two basic fundamental premises. Number one, the independence of judiciary, and second, the transparency of its functioning. Yet how far this align with the concept of codified law and the rule of law is a matter that invites continuous introspection. I leave it to the civil society. How do you introspect it? With those thoughts, I once again congratulate Ashish Bhai, Shri Mayoor Shah, for presenting this Stithpragya. Wisdom. The wisdom, the concept is the process of maintaining equilibrium along with enlightening others, enlightening youth from his wisdom, giving them a direction, be a potential force to change, be a leader of innovative ideas that could transform your social life, your professional life, your life whichever you want to live with. That equilibrium with enlightenment is necessary. That is what truly could be the concept of pragya in the limited words. Just not a memoir, but a memoir of resilience. Anicca, बहुत जरूरी है. Innovation, values. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much. May I now request Mr. Ashish Chauhan to please felicitate our honorable dignitaries. Mr. Chauhan, if you could kindly felicitate our Honorable Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji. If we could also request Mr. Chauhan to felicitate Honorable Justice Vinod Kumar. Thank you so much, and may I request the honorable dignitaries to please take their seats. And while we now start the panel discussion, the front row, please. And for the panel discussion, may I please invite Mr. Damodaran. If you could just bear with us for a moment while we invite Mr. Damodaran to please come on stage. Mr. Raviji, please. And for Professor Suresh to continue here. But let me first ask, Dr. K.G. Suresh, who's the chair of this session, to share brief opening remarks before we kick off the panel discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shweta, my distinguished fellow panelists, Shri Damodaran ji, Shri Ravi ji, Shri Mayoor Shah sahab, and of course the groom of the day, I would call it, Shri Chauhan sahab, though Mayoor Shah has dressed like the groom. So, a warm welcome to all of you. We are indeed really privileged to have this program. IHC Conversation with Authors has been a very successful program. But I must say that in all our programs, the objective is to inform our learned audience and to educate them. But this is one event that will be remembered for also inspiring the audience. And I think that Shri Chauhan deserves all the appreciation from all of us. I have gone through, flipped through, I must say, the pages of the book. And I must say that it has been a learning experience. I'm sure that it would not have been a problem if Shri Chauhan, because these days it's not very uncommon to see people having ghost writers. So he could have very well written that book in his own name, but he chose to have Dr. Mayoor Shah as somebody who wrote this, of course in first person. Many of the parts are in first person. And he is downright honest about, something that I was reminded honestly of Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography. It's not every day that somebody of his stature would openly confess that I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to chew tobacco, I used to, have non-vegetarian food. And then he also confesses that he left it because his wife wanted him to leave it. And that also in a way, establishes what has already been mentioned, that he is despite being a professional, somebody, a workaholic who works 18 hours a day, somebody who is a family man, somebody who subscribes to our traditional family values. It's a life well lived, and I must say that sometimes I wonder after going through the book, what is that book? Is it an autobiography? Is it a biography? Is it a textbook which tells you about management, a textbook which tells you about derivatives, stock market? What is that book all about? And sometimes by the end of the book, you realize that he is not only the managing director and mentor of the National Stock Exchange, but also of the National Spiritual Exchange, of the national spirituality. So he is somebody who has done a tremendous balancing act, and in this age of materialism, to maintain that detachment. I was watching him as we were waiting for the minister at the gate. He was standing in one corner, no anxiety, no excitement. And I went and asked him that, how are you feeling right now? He said, I am always like this. Cool like a cucumber. And I really loved it. For somebody who has held such high, offices, somebody who has been on such high profile jobs, for him to remain so cool and so detached is something of an inspiration. I can only say, and these are my last comments, and that is that while Bhagavad Gita may not be comprehensible to the common man, to everybody, but I think that reading this book, you would find a friend, philosopher and guide in Mr. Chauhan. Thank you so much.
Be a part of his very momentous day today, and who better than Mr. Damodaran now to take that thought forward. Sir, you've been India's capital markets regulator, and it's been obviously one of the most exciting and challenging roles, especially at a time when India was seeing the kind of growth that we now are so proud of. But you've held charge at the helm at that very, very crucial years, sir. When we talk about equilibrium and we talk about calm and discipline, and the theme of the book. At the same time, you're talking about people in this, on very, very esteemed people who have actually been part of what is nothing else but chaos, nothing else but volatility. So how do you maintain calm? And your thoughts on the fact that today we're talking about calm, resilience, motivation, themes that somehow in some ways are not synonymous with what you all have represented all your lives.
Let me attempt a very short answer to the first part of your question. If most people in the securities market had the same commitment to values, to principles, and practiced good conduct as Mr. Chauhan did, the job of the securities market regulator would be one of the easiest.
Right, amazing. I think that falls for the
Regrettably, he is in a hopeless minority, and therefore there are challenges when it comes to regulating the market. I have never had the privilege of working in the same organization as my friend Ravi did, because they were together in the Bombay Stock Exchange, but I think our paths have crossed, we have overlapped on occasion, and I've had the privilege of observing him up close and personal, and wondering, sometimes aloud, sometimes within myself, how one man can combine all these qualities and continue to have that smile that he does, that disarming smile that actually puts you at ease and tells you, leave it to me. He doesn't say it in words, but you can make out from that smile that the person who is tasked to deal with it will deal with it, no matter that nobody else is lending a helping hand. It doesn't matter. I looked at the subtitle of the book, Maintaining Equilibrium, and I thought that two of the most important qualities that people need to have, especially when they occupy the kind of positions that Ashish Bhai did and continues to do, is both equilibrium and equanimity. I think the ability to look at two sides of a question, the ability to not be persuaded by one's own personal agenda, as many are inclined to do, to distance yourself from the problem and look at it analytically. These are not virtues that come easily to most people. And I think he has practiced them in great measure. What I've also admired, because I run a series of conferences on governance, this year is the 10th, and he will be speaking at it. He has been a regular speaker at our conferences. And what I admire, not just me, but the audience with whom I share notes, what they admire is the ease with which he marries tradition and technology.
correct.
The ability to explain current day problems in terms of our received wisdom from the past, from our epics. The seamless manner in which he connects what most people would think are unconnected aspects. That I think is great. Of course, to put it very briefly, when people reach a certain level, they are the object of envy. But when you transcend that and go to a higher level, you become the object of pride. Ashish Bhai has moved long, long ago from that level to the next level when he is not anyone's envy, he is our pride, our collective pride. I envy him though for one thing, that is the 2 years that he led the Mumbai Indians. I did mention to the people who ran the Mumbai Indians that when you want to replace him, I am available, but they didn't think that. They didn't think that that was much of a choice, and they went to professionals thereafter, because maybe he raised the bar that I couldn't think of jumping over it. I had to walk under it in order to get to the other side. That must be the reason they said we need to get somebody else. But truly a rich life, a life well lived, a life meaningfully lived, and a life lived in the interest of society, in the interest of the common man, and the ability to practice effortlessly two things that a lot of us talk about: speed and scale. All conversations in the corporate world are about you must scale up, you must have speed. I think what he demonstrated both in the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange is that you can look at scale and speed, and as somebody said, treat those two imposters just the same.
Yes.
That I think is what he's done.
Thank you, Mr. Damodaran. Very wonderful thoughts. And I must say, one thing that is common across all leaders is also their wit. And thank you for some very interesting anecdotes there and interesting comments. Let me come to Sri Ravi, and again, someone who's donned that very important role at the Bombay Stock Exchange. Again, with Mr. Chauhan's journey there as well, and then to NSE, I would say, riding through various storms and crises. I think the one important takeaway from what Mr. Damodaran was mentioning was how do you raise the bar on governance? How do you raise the bar on leading with ethics and morality in today's times? And I think this is a question, as someone who guides and coaches a lot of new age founders and companies, I'm often grappling with, because we are seeing India going through a transformation. Our Indian stock market will look very different in the next few years than it has over the past few years. We have a lot of young companies, young founders and promoters that are now listing. There's a whole pipeline that keeps Mr. Chauhan busy in ringing the bell and taking pictures with the famous bull every day that we see. So he has a busy calendar ahead of him at the NSE. But Sri Ravi, drawing from inspiration of the book and from some of the learnings, what is it that we can teach the young new age nation builders of today?
So first of all, I'm thankful to Ashish for inviting me here to be a panelist along with our very senior Mr. M. Damodaran, whom I have huge respect for. So on this side of the dais and this side of the dais, I've seen two very cool people. Absolutely equanimity. I have dealt with Mr. Damodaran in many ways, and something which I actually, as chairman of the Bombay Stock Exchange, I was on a day-to-day connect with Ashish. He also dealt with problems in a very very nice, dignified, cool and collected manner. And I can tell you, what can we learn? What can we learn is few things. How to build an institution and how to take people along. So sometimes we used to have discussions with the second level CROs, the CEOs, everybody else. And I used to find that everybody was on the same page. And that was something which very, very few organizations have, that sort of culture where I did not find any sort of disconnect between the first few leaders. And that is what, is one of the takeaways, what I would say from the whole thing. The second thing, if you look at who were there at BSC and you see where they are today, you will see all of them have gone to some heading something or the other. So why has it happened? Because leadership gave them an opportunity to grow, and that is the second most learning that I would give from whatever my own experience, apart from whatever it is written in the book, which is in public domain. The third thing I would say is we took certain crucial decisions, and for example, listing of the BSE stock itself was a very, very big decision, and it was not easy. The second was getting into commodities, and the third was, I remember very nicely, about the mutual fund distribution. There was a lot of resistance from other board members. Why are we spending on this? So I and Ashish, lunchtime, we exchanged a cricket score also. What was the cricket score? And then we said, then I told him, see, this has to be done and we'll have to do it. Then I asked him the calculations and he had everything on him. This is what we are going to do. Today, what we are seeing in BSC
or what we are seeing in the last few years, that mutual fund distribution has been a very key success for BSc, and that I must, sort of, where we were half-hearted as a board, but he was very convinced as a CEO, and where he felt that this has to be done in the interest of BSc, it was done. And I think that was a great innovation. Of course, technological innovations were all there, but taking a leap and trying something new was absolutely the most important aspect as far as my experience with Ashish was. Now, regarding this book, if you look at the journey of Ashish, how he has been, as Mr. Damodaran sir has very clearly stated, cricket. He has been in a listed company there, and then he has moved to, he was a part of the original NSC team. Because I was in the board of IDBI, I heard stories about all that. The original team of IDBI, which was robbed and put as for NSC. You were also the chairman of IDBI. So all these 4 or 5 people who sort of went from there and created this whole new journey. So if you look at this whole thing, Mr. Natkarni's mentioned how he sort of, when you are a young person, how he encouraged you. That's another thing. You can learn from the book, is how somebody can encourage a young leader to come up to where it is. So it was some people like Mr. Natkarni, Mr. Damodaran, and people like that who have encouraged the younger lot to come up. And similarly, Ashish has played a very crucial role. He has dealt with his seniors very well and also simultaneously built leaders. So that is the big takeaway as far as I am concerned.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'm going to now move towards closing comments from the panel, but start with Dr. Mayoor Shah and say that, as closing comments, the one trait that you value the most about Mr. Chauhan, that you in your personal interactions with him have found most valuable, that you think leaders of today and tomorrow should imbibe.
Restricting to only one is difficult.
Okay,
but I think the best thing that he has, the way he has been able to understand technology and adapt it to the needs of the industry. So technology otherwise is a very scary term. If you face it, you feel it's difficult to understand. But with him, it was like in his hands to play a game, and he converted technology, adapted it so well, and made so many things happen. Though he is not from the field of technology, being a mechanical engineer. So that is one thing. And secondly, his foresight. He always is able to see far ahead of today. So he's living in the present and yet being able to see the future.
Beautiful. I'm making a note of that. Foresight and his tech adoption, I think, are two amazing, I would say, ability to adapt and adopt technology for today's times. Mr. Damodaran, sir. And if you could also relate it to what younger generation should imbibe and learn as they mature into leaders.
I see him as an institution builder, not one but 2 institutions at least, several others, which was the NSDL, the Clearing Corporation, things of that kind, but certainly he raised the BSc from where it was to much higher levels. He helped set up the NSC when he was a very young man, in his 20s. Then went from there, came back, and then has again moved it up. These are institutions which have a pride of place in the world. It is something India can be very proud about. And for someone to have set up or been a part of the founding team that set it up, played a much bigger role. Not that I want to apportion credit to anyone, but if you look at who did what in the founding team, I think he should walk away with, though you were the youngest, I suspect, in that bunch, you should get disproportionate credit, not proportionate to the age. The other thing, of course, is no institution is built without empowerment. If persons in the, I think Mr. Ravi referred to it, if persons in the organizations feel empowered, feel incentivized, and feel accountable, that is a great tribute to the leader, because the leader is not the one driving it all by himself or herself. There are others who are masters of their own destiny and who can take it forward. And the last thing that I wanted to say on this is about the window on the cover of the book. I know in the context of the book what it means, because it is a somewhat mature Ashish Bhai looking down at a young Ashish Kumar Chauhan, and then coming down there and walking down the road of the journey of life. But the way I choose to interpret it is in terms of two dimensions. One, the mentor looking at the young person, because I think there's an element of mentoring. The second is a very proud, legitimately proud Indian, not reflecting on his achievements, but having a world view, looking at what is outside and where India belongs in that space. And that is how I choose to interpret this.
Thank you. That was wonderful, wonderful indeed. Dr. Suresh.
I think the most important part that I felt after reading through this, flipping through the pages, I would say is that it's not that difficult to be a hugely successful person. But to be a hugely successful person and to be a great human being together, I think that's the difficult part.
Beautiful.
And
yeah.
that's what I think that Ashish Chauhan represents. And the second thing is that I was also looking at this. And I felt that the most important quality is that I think this child, he has been able to retain this child.
Yeah.
I think that that's the greatest quality, that if you are able to retain the child in you, that is important. And I think that this reading through the book, it gives you that not just the child's enthusiasm, but also when we say that children are, God's own, we find them as an avatar of God. And I think that that innocence you can find through the entire book. And last but not the least is that he is not reluctant to share the tips for achieving this goal with the younger generation.
Right.
He has shared those perspectives which can enable any youngster to follow him, to emulate him. I don't know how easy it is going to be, but certainly he has shown the roadmap, and it is for the younger generation to follow.
The last word goes to Sri Ravi.
So, first of all, this book is a very easy read book. It doesn't tax you, first of all. And that's very compliments to Mr. Mayoor Shah for this. But coming to the subject, as Mr. Meghwal said. So, first, one quality that means, as my own experience, he has been a very consistent person. I have not seen a more consistent person in relationship. Always maintaining the dignity, always maintaining the same affection and the quality, which is very rare in today's generation. And I think one good thing that one can take from Mr. Ashish Chauhan is this quality of being consistent. Second is, we had a lot of debates on various things. And the best part about Mr. Ashish Chauhan was that always he was flexible to others' ideas. He would, of course, champion his ideas, but he was always flexible. And that was, as a chairman of the board, I found that, very useful to me, because, he was flexible in his approach, and that was one. The third thing, being a human, means I was still 19 or 20 in the board. Still now, we have been very consistent in our talks. Once a week or once in 10 days, we talk to each other on something. And, the type of relationship that he has taken forward. And I have seen it not with me only, but a lot of other people who talk very good about Ashish. And when a lot of people talk good about a person, that means the person has achieved something which is, people are normally jealous or talk negative, but he is one person whom I have seen that people don't talk against him. It is because he adopts to everything, he is flexible, and more important, he is a good human being. And it's a privilege. I have known him, and I wish him the very best. And there are a lot of milestones yet to come, and I'm sure you're going to achieve all that.
Thank you, and I will take the privilege of adding to that as someone also who has truly benefited from his leadership is his humility, his accessibility. I wanted to reach out to him. We had a meeting with the SEBI chairperson, and I was coming to Mumbai, and I just dropped him a message, and I said, Mr. Chauhan, I want to come and see you. And literally in no time, he was available, he was present, he met us, and we're already now partnering NSE actively as the Startup Policy Forum and under the Center for New Age Public Companies. But his ability to just say yes, I think that's a huge quality in a leader of his stature, and I think we're all very, very grateful to him for that. With that, I'd like to invite Mr. Chauhan back on the dais to felicitate our guests today, both Mr. Damodaran as well as Shri Ravi. And also Dr. Suresh, please. Then is my time now to draw in a little more from Mr. Chauhan about what's happening in India's stock markets, about some of his lessons and learnings through his professional journey that he continues to apply even today at a time when India's stock markets are clearly something that the world is, noticing. Mr. Chauhan, in some ways, you're the face of India's financial ecosystem today. The one thing that the world is taking note of is just how dynamic, how mature, how exciting the Indian capital markets have become over the last few years. I think it's testament to your leadership and to the entire ecosystem that is now, India is in fact the envy of the world when it comes to our capital markets. Share with us what is going on, how excited you are. Are there any concerns? Do you sleep well? We know you sleep well. We know you're stoic. But but if there is anything that keeps you awake or worried, what is it?
In a way, when I look back, say 92, just after Arshad Mehta scandal, the government had set up a committee. And that committee, once again, there were other earlier committees which had suggested an automated exchange. And then this committee again suggested an automated exchange. And instantly, it was almost that the committee was to say, and next day a team was created in IDBI. And so when I look back those days, BSE, which was the largest exchange those days, 80% market share, used to do 10,000 trades a day.
Yeah.
Maximum. In Arshad Mehta times, in my own life of 35 years in stock markets, that was the best of times in terms of the what I call the euphoria that stock market had in 1991. I have not seen that euphoria. Some of you who have been with me, Subhashji or Sabarwalji, literally there are members in Delhi who have been with me all this journey. And somewhere I think that was the best of times in terms of the euphoria part. And still India could do only 10,000 trades a day because we were on physicals and there were so many mistakes done during those 2 hours of trading. That would take us 60 days to just figure out the trades happened or not, and then 15 more days to settle, right? And so when that framework happened, we couldn't even sort of believe that automation will happen. We did not have computers, many computers. We did not have satellite trading, the telephone systems which will work. And earlier, one exchange had already failed, called OTCI, similar experiment, over-the-counter exchange of India. Just 1 year before NSE was set up, it had failed. So in that context, if you look back, even in that euphoria, India had probably 1 million investors, 10 lakh. Now you come after, say, NSE started in 94, so either you look at 92 or 94, same times. And 2025, now we have 120 million investors, unique. So where is 1 million investors, where is 120 million investors? And the other part is, India is still considered a low per capita income country, right? It's a $3,000 per capita income country, although aggregate we are $4.2 trillion. $3,000 per capita compared to America's $88,000. It's not even significant, right? And there are economics books written, theories written that poor countries, poor per capita income countries cannot have well-functioning stock markets because poor people don't save. They can't save, right? Most of their money goes in living. They can't save, and if they save, they don't trust their brothers. How will they trust somebody else sitting in another place? Invest in that person's business and hope that some profit will appear and that sliver of their portion of that share will come to them. It's such a great leap of faith, right? 30 years back, we were in that situation. Today, in $3,000 capita income, we have a great, well-functioning market, 120 million people, 20% of all households. That is what I call the manufacturing of trust by Government of India, by judiciary, by regulator like SEBI, by exchanges, all the stock exchange members. But more importantly, it's the trust of a common Indian into the entrepreneurs of India. Poor people investing in other poor people's businesses is unheard of in the world. $3,000 per capita, there is no similar market. $6,000, there is no similar market. $12,000 per capita, no similar market. $24,000, there is no similar market. There is one market of similar size called China. At $18,000, they were much larger market than ours. But when the prices go down, government goes and buys. Have you seen Indian government buying anything? Right? Why I am telling you this is what I call Swayambhu market. People investing into other people in 78 years of independence. What have we earned as a nation? It is our small people's trust in our small entrepreneurs. And some of them become large. But $5.2 trillion, 1/3 of India's wealth. This is something which was not supposed to be there. We are an enigma. We are not explainable by economics, theories, by anything. It's just the sheer trust which our entrepreneurs have worked hard on. Because as regulators, SEBI, as parliament, we can create laws, we can try to implement. But if the entrepreneurs run away with the money, you can do nothing, right? All the things we play, today we do 30 crore trades, 300 million trades in a day. 50% of all trades in the world sometimes happen on NSE. 50% of all orders, 2,000 crore a day order, happens on NSE. But that is more technical wizardry and other stuff. But just the trust, manufacturing of trust, which our members have done well to earn for our entrepreneurs. But our entrepreneurs have actually justified that trust, right? And the societies which trust each other, that poor society which trust other poor person, that society will come up. The rich societies which don't trust each other, they come down. So for me, we are a society on ascendance is because we trust our other people, right? It's such a beautiful concept that poor people trusting other poor people. There is nothing similar. It's so democratic. Where you come from, which religion, which caste, which color, which creed, which race. This is democratic. If you will make money for me, I will invest in you. You might not be from my religion, not from my language, not from my region. I have investors in Arunachal Pradesh. I have investors in all pin codes except 28 pin codes in India. And out of that 28, probably 25 are pure play airports where you can't stay full day. So I can't do KYC. But I have investors in Andaman Nicobar. I have invested in Leh Ladakh, remotest corner. India is investing in its entrepreneurs. And that is where wealth get created. Wealth is not how many buildings we have, how many roads we have. Of course you will have roads. Of course we need buildings. How much jewelry you have. But how much trust we have in each other. And that is the truest sense of democracy. That is the truest sense of classlessness, right? And for me, it is the biggest democracy of the world. But it is also the most trusting democracy. And that is what we have achieved in last 30 years of NSE. That is my take home, that whatever all of us have collectively done, I mean, one person cannot do. Sachin Tendulkar alone cannot win any game, however great he is, right? He requires 11 people. And similarly, everyone has contributed. But it is basically the relationship between the entrepreneurs and the investors. And that trust, if we continue with that trust in future, there is no power on earth which can stop India's ascendance.
So very well said. I think some of the data points that you're sharing are, goosebumpy, literally. 50% of all trades sometimes in the world are happening on NSE. I mean, I think kudos to you that you run, along with obviously, support from the capital markets regulator and as well as other institutions, such a, I would say, well-functioning institution that is today, the pride of India. You've talked a lot about trust, and I think having a strong governance framework, having trust, having an institution on which millions and millions of Indians are today relying for their savings, I think is a matter of immense pride, sir. If there's one message that you have from your life journey for different constituents, and I'd like to just point out who those constituents are, for each of those retail investors that is today saving and investing in India's stock market, one message for them. One message for everyone who is today coming and listing on NSE, each of those promoters who are choosing your stock exchange to list their companies. One message for India's policymakers who are today charting, Viksit Bharat, and saying, we want to be Viksit Bharat by 2047. And I think a last one is a message to that average Indian, every young person out there who we will leave tomorrow's India to. So those are the four constituents I'd like to wrap this discussion with by getting your thoughts on your message to them as an institution builder.
In a way, the way I understand it is, the technology is the only change that happens in the world. The society surrounds it. And the pace of technology used to be slow, which is becoming faster. And so the wealth creation is going to become faster and faster. The waves of technologies are coming faster, and the wealth creation or wealth transfer is moving faster and faster. And so the societies which adapt to those newer technologies have a larger chance to make more wealth. And the societies which do not adapt or want to go back to some imagined glory past, that societies will become irrelevant. Today they might be the richest and the brightest and all, but the adoption, the hunger to take technology and use it, not necessarily that you have to invent it, you have to use it, right? Many people think, we invented decimal system, but we didn't use it well. Other people did and subjugated us, right? So you don't have to invent, you have to use it, right? So that's the adaptive society on technology. And for me, that's a general theme of last 30 years. And it's going to be increasing over next 30, 50, 100 years, because that's where the societies change, the world changes, right? And in terms of what the policymakers need to do is to just ensure that this society, by quirk of fate, has become extremely high-tech, slightly poor society, but extremely high-tech compared to any other societies in the world. It's also a very open society to newer ideas. We were not an open society for last 1,000 years. And that's why we got subjugated. Today, we are able to take ideas from across the world, adapt them to our needs, but adapt them to their needs and provide them things sitting here, right? And that's, I think, a very credible or creditable situation that has developed. And how do we, as public authorities, continue to work on that? The other part is the trust is the essence of society. There is nothing else which bind the societies. If you see why the Western societies are falling apart, because the trust is lacking. The society is not trusting each other, trusting their governors, their people who are authorities, and that's where you will see those societies falling apart. Despite whatever we think we are in terms of low per capita, our trust is what runs the society. The hope is what runs the society. This society, over last 78 years of independence, has given hope to every person. The lowest of the low to the highest of the high has a hope in this society. And we need to continue to build on it, continue to maintain it, continue to ensure that the trust doesn't get broken into our governance, into our sort of way of living life, that we will take everyone along. If you take India, NSE's bull, you go to any exchange in the world, the bull is standing alone of that exchange. You go to Wall Street, it is standing there on the road. People take photographs, but that bull is alone. On NSE bull, it is with people of India. It has people from all walks of life. Because our capital markets are made, as I call Swayambhu, right, by people. We are only facilitating it. It is the people who are connecting, and that is what we need to continue to build on. That if you think it's our achievement, it's not. That humility has to be there in authorities, the regulators, the exchanges, that parliament, that just judges, that we are only at most trying to marginally guide towards what is the dharma of that activity, that is that duty of that activity, right? And that is what we can't be running a society which is 17% of world population by diktats, right? It is a sort of a different thing. People have tried, and you will see the outcomes, that being tough doesn't run this society. And ours is not achievable. The way we are so non-violent, so trusting, with literally zero random violence. You go to UK today, you go to New York, start walking in Manhattan at 9 p.m. without watching your back, you are going to have a huge chance of being mugged. Start walking on Delhi roads or any other small cities road in India, no such thing happens, right? Why? It's because that trust in each other is done. That's why all public servants, public authorities have to try to build that trust. In terms of the new companies, I say that when you are running a family, the parents don't eat if they don't have food. They first feed their children, right? And the essence of corporate governance is that when you come to the market, you are also having a lot of children in your family. First, worry about them, make them eat, you will also get your share. But if you think as a person who is making the decision on how to share that pie, you want to eat up everything, even if it is legal, that is not corporate governance. Corporate governance is when you have a choice, you favor the people who don't have power in your companies, which are outsiders. And that is what the essence of corporate governance is. I mean, me and Mr. Damodaran have a debate every year on this, just the issue of corporate governance. That is basically the essence of listed companies. And average Indian is that this is the place of hope. It used to be said, people become rags to riches only in America. It used to be said that American story, it happens only in America. Today, it happens only in India. It gives chance to everyone. It gave me chance. Literally, what is written in the book is interesting but small. But India gave me chance, a hopeless person a chance, and if it can give me chance, it gives chance to everyone. Not one, but every day you get chances. You will have worries, you will have problems, but this country is the only country which gives chance to everyone. And that is what every Indian has to understand, that all of us are in it together. And with technology, now we were the pioneers of technology 2000 years back. The metallurgy we created. Agriculture came out of here. The decimals came out of here. Every type of physics, every type of surgery came out of India. But we stopped evolving. This time, in last 1000 years, when the technology race was being run, we were not even in the stadium. Today, we are at the front line of that race, and we are going to win. So trust in science, trust in technology, and this country is going to do miracles in next 50 years.
On that wonderful note, I'm going to open it up for questions for the last 5 minutes of this session. Yes, please, the gentleman there. Yeah.
What will it take for us to build more such institutions and institutionalize the democratic opportunities that the world talks about but doesn't have the spine to do that? India is the true democracy in this instance, and more. That question is rhetoric. You might choose to answer it. Open up the dialogue for many more of such people, of visionaries to come in. What will it take to go to 6 to 8x growth translated into democratizing opportunities of creating maybe 10 million entrepreneurs in the next 10 years, 15 years? I don't have the answer. Let's find the answer together, which we call India Inc. Thank you.
No, thank you. It's an interesting question. And for me, NSE was the first public digital infrastructure. When we did not have computers, we dreamed big. Our policymakers in Delhi dreamed big of things which were not possible. What NSE did was supposed to not happen. It somehow happened by quirk of fate. It's a long story. But post NSE is not the only example of what India has done in last 30 years, right? It has changed so many things, including last success, or at least one of the largest successes in the world is UPI, right? The payment system which India has developed, no other country has been able to do that. 50% of all transactions, electronic transactions in the world now go through UPI. 50%. 2,000 crore orders, transactions a month. Small little people doing small little things, right? Even, there are so many examples all of us are aware of, how people sitting in remotest corner are able to send money to their children, to their businesses, to their drivers, to their families. And there is nothing similar. We think China is faster, but they have private systems. One is called WeChat, other is called AntPay. There is no framework which is actually a centralized, not-for-profit. India created that, right? And many, like CoWIN we created, during COVID times we created. So we are a nation in ascendance because we work collectively for the betterment. And newer technologies, if we continue to adapt, will remain ahead of the others, and slowly you will see the life quality improving. Your GDP in dollar terms may not improve faster until the time those countries' currencies collapse and all, which may happen because they end up taking too much debt. We don't. So we have to manage our debt as government level, individual levels and all. But broadly, we are doing that with or without our knowledge, with or without governments. Individuals are coming up. Many other countries are setting up their global capacity centers here. Is because Indians are honest, work hard, work 24/7. You go to America, you worked in America. Thursday evening, all of them want to go to beach, right? And come back on Tuesday morning. Indians will work on weekends, on nights. So that's a trait this country has developed. Let's not lose that. And everyone in last 50, 60 years, every part of India has come up in their lifestyle. And that is the hope we have created. We'll continue to build on that and will create a very prosperous nation.
A few words on bond trading exchanges, if we could. I'll shut up after this. Thank you.
Yeah. Bond trading, actually, one is to do trading, other is to do investments, right? Stock markets also, one is to do trading, which is what I call technical wizardry, a little bit of liquidity. But investments is what counts in the long run. And so last year, NSE raised $250 billion of commercial papers, REITs, InvITs, bonds, hybrids, and equities. So we raised a lot of debt. In fact, 35% of all incremental debt to corporates are now from NSE. Right? It's just that it doesn't trade that much. And America trades also similar amount, around 2% or 3% of the stock on the stock exchanges, on the exchanges. They trade a lot on the over-the-counter side. That is between bipartite, and that is considered sort of good there. But there are issues in that type of bipartisan, two parties related market where prices can go haywire. So it's not the trading velocity which currently we work on, but we are improving slowly. Those markets are coming up. There are what we call online bond platforms that have come up. There are many of them which are doing quite a good business of trading and distribution. Some of our members sitting here are doing that in retail. And so that business is slowly growing. Again, it's a matter of trust. Our companies start taking the money and giving it back. Right? And it happens continuously. More people will come to the markets rather than going through banks. Right? So it's a choice between banks and the markets. And today, slowly markets are becoming larger on the bond side also.
One last question we're going to take.
हेलो गुड इवनिंग सर, चंद्रशेखर गुप्ता फ्रॉम जागरण बिजनेस। सर मैं आपकी ये अभी बुक में पढ़ रहा था तो उसमें मेंशन था कि यू आर ए फादर ऑफ डेरिवेटिव मार्केट। आपने डेरिवेटिव मार्केट इंट्रोड्यूस किया था इंडिया के अंदर, लेकिन डेरिवेटिव्स में और एफ&ओ ट्रेडिंग में जो उसके कंसिक्वेंसेस हमें आज देखने को मिल रहे हैं, सेबी भी उस पर काम कर रहा है, काफ़ी पैसा ऑप्शंस में लोगों का जा रहा है, तो आपको लगता है कि इस पर रिकन्सिडरेशन होना चाहिए या फिर एफ&ओ एंड ओ को डिलीट कर दिया जाए, सिर्फ फ्यूचर से भी पोजीशन हैज हो जाती हैं और ये बेसिकली हेजिंग टूल थे और नाउ बिकम ए ट्रेडिंग टूल। तो ऑप्शन की ज़रूरत क्या है? फ्यूचर से भी हम पोजीशंस को हैज कर सकते हैं और हैजिंग उन्हें ही करना है जो मार्केट के अंदर बहुत बड़ा कैपिटल डिप्लॉय कर रहे हैं।
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है आपका और उसका उसके जवाब के कई पहलू हैं कि जहाँ पर एक तरह से लोग पैसा गंवाते हैं, खास करके जो विकासशील देश हैं जैसा हमारा डेवलपिंग इकोनॉमी है, उसमें हम वो रिस्क नहीं ले सकते हैं कि जो लोगों के घर बार जा सकते हैं। तो उसके लिए एक कंट्रोल होना ज़रूरी है, लेकिन ये भी ज़रूरी है कि ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट एक बार आप जानते हो, उसको अच्छे से उपयोग कर सकते हो, तो आपको उसको उपयोग करने की एक तरह से सम्मति मिलनी चाहिए। हर चीज़ को बैन करेंगे, जैसे मैं एक सामान्य उदाहरण देता हूँ कि घर में हजारों साल से एक वस्तु उपयोग में लेते हैं हम, जिसका नाम है नाइफ, चाकू। चाकू से कई लोग एक दूसरे को घायल भी करते थे। कई बार अब आज दिल्ली में भी 2-3 कार्यक्रम हादसे हुए हैं जहाँ पे लोग मर भी गए चाकू की वजह से। आपने कभी ये सवाल उठाया नहीं सरकार से कि चाकू को बैन कर देना चाहिए? लेकिन हर घर में बच्चे के हाथ में मां चाकू देती है क्या? कहां दूर रखते हैं ना? क्यों रखते हैं और किसको रखना चाहिए? तो जिसको कैपेसिटी नहीं है सोचने की, विवेक बुद्धि नहीं है, वो बच्चा है, उसके हाथ में चाकू नहीं होना चाहिए। खेलते खेलते किसी को मार सकता है, खुद को भी मार सकता है। वही तो आप कह रहे हो कि वो जो व्यक्ति है अच्छा इंस्ट्रूमेंट को भी बुरी तरीके से यूज करता है, तो किसको यूज करने देना चाहिए उसके ऊपर चर्चा जरूर होनी चाहिए, नहीं कि बैन कर दे। आपका जो प्रपोजल था वो बैन का था, तो मेरा एक सामान्य रिक्वेस्ट है कि विवेक बुद्धि जो है वो हर चीज का हर एक अलग अलग पहलू होता है, उसकी चर्चा जरूर होनी चाहिए। जो व्यक्ति को उसकी कैपेसिटी नहीं है उसको हैंडल करने की, उसके जो परिणाम हैं, जिसको उसकी ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, जैसे कार हम चला नहीं देते जब तक आप लाइसेंस नहीं लेते हैं, तो इसके लिए भी कोई एक व्यवस्था खड़ी होनी चाहिए। लेकिन ये भी हकीकत है कि हम लोगों को हर चीज को बैन मांगने की आदत है, करवाने की आदत है, जिससे सभी को तकलीफ होगी। और एक दूसरा भी एक उदाहरण देता हूं कि कई बार हमें ऐसा मनाया जाता है कि ये चीज गलत है, वो मात्रा में हो सकता है। जैसे चाइना में आपने सुना होगा, पता नहीं, आज चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट को इतना डर है कि रिवॉल्यूशन हो जाएगा कोई भी कारण से, तो हर घर के चाकू जो है उसको चेन से बांधना पड़ता है, जिससे वो बाहर नहीं ले जा पाए। उसकी इंस्पेक्शन होती है, आपको पता है। आज कहीं सर्च करना, आपको कई चाकू चेन में मिलेंगे, फोटोग्राफ्स या वीडियो में, चाइना में। तो जब ये दहशत हम खड़ी कर लेते, तो जो ट्रस्ट का माहौल है कि व्यक्ति को इतनी विवेक बुद्धि यूज करने की कैपेसिटी होनी चाहिए। इंस्ट्रूमेंट सही है, गलत है, हर एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट अपने आप में सही है, अपने आप में गलत भी है, राइट। तो वहीं पर हमें बेसिकली कैसे, कौन से इंस्ट्रूमेंट किसको यूज करने देने चाहिए, कब करने चाहिए, उसकी एक व्यवस्था बन जाती है, तो मेरे हिसाब से इंस्ट्रूमेंट गलत नहीं है। और लास्ट की लाइफ इंश्योरेंस जब आप लेते हो तो आपको क्या लग रहा है आप क्या कर रहे हो? आप लाइफ पे ऑप्शन ले रहे हो।
Brilliant. I think, I can clearly say that, wisdom, knowledge, and his ability, Mr. Chauhan's ability to, on the spot, draw such amazing analogies, some amazing parallels. I love the knife story, so I'm going to quote you a lot on it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, if we could
just a moment. Just a moment.
After this book, and especially after the last quotes of the flight, we intermediaries feel that there should be a standing ovation from us.
All right.
Thank you. I request all of you to be seated for just 5 more minutes. I know we are overshooting time slightly, but it's been a simulating conversation. Thank you so much to the panelists. We have to thank Shweta. She's doing tremendous work. We know her as the face of NDTV, part of Times of India, and of course leading Startup Policy Forum so well, enabling our startups. So I request Ashish ji to felicitate her with a small memento of our appreciation. Ashish ji. Thank you so much, Shweta, for holding it together. Ladies and gentlemen, this program will not have been possible without the leadership of the India Habitat Center. I first want to thank one of my mentors, KG Suresh ji. As a director of India Habitat Center, he's truly democratizing India Habitat Center. I remember a quote that he wants to make this the think tank of India, the first from Kerala to be the director of this center. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting us as a family and enabling this. As an organizing team, we have given a lot of trouble to Geeta ji, who's the head of the Habitat Library and Research Center, and she's as always sitting in the last row, humble as always. Thank you so much, Geeta ji, for bearing with us since the time we planned this. I want to thank Sandeep Tandon ji, who heads the banquets, for also patiently listening and also reciprocating with his valuable service. Thank you so much, Amarnath ji and the entire team of Habitat Center. A big round of applause for them for enabling this conversation. I believe Bhavna has some formalities to do before we wind down for the dinner. Dinner is at Juniper and Marigold. I will request all of you to walk slightly and then enjoy dinner at Habitat before you disperse. Bhavna, quickly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sudarshan. Now I request Director IHC Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh to please present the IHC mementos to Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan ji.
I just wanted to inform particularly all the esteemed members here that this is a token of appreciation to Mr. Chauhan that we have recently signed a memorandum of understanding with NSE, wherein NSE is going to conduct a regular workshop on financial literacy for our members.
Now I request Sir to present the memento to Ms. Shweta Rajpal Singh. And to author of the evening, Shri Dr. Mayoor Shah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you.